Hi, I'm here for the final video project in which we are supposed to discuss the prompt whether or not we believe that different types of regimes correspond with different levels of prosperity for a nation or a city-state or an area of society. And I disagree with this prompt. I think that it's too big of a generalization to say that the regime is the main factor in determining the prosperity of a nation. I think that there are a lot of factors that go into that, namely like resources of the area, what kind of leader it was. Even if it was a democratic leader, was it a real democracy? Was it like a democracy that was fueled by another country that put in, like, forced people to elect leaders? So it wasn't really a democracy, but it was under the name democracy. And so in the readings that we did, I thought that there were some examples. Olson talked about the difference between like a roving bandit and a stationary bandit, which could be used to say like a dictator. And he said that like a dictator usually will have a more prosperous area because he cares about the people that he's ruling over and, well, at least cares about them enough in their like productivity. So he'll like take care of private goods he'll take care of public goods to ensure that people will have a higher level of productivity because he cares about the long-term assets of the people he rules over. Olson also went on to say, though, that that's not necessarily always the case. There are some leaders who just don't take care of that stuff. They don't really focus on the economic side or boosting up the economy and making sure that the people are productive and like producing a lot. So I picked two examples to kind of go along with this idea. I chose to compare Haiti and Cuba because I feel that both of them are kind of in similar situations, yet with very different prosperity levels. So both of them are islands. Both have dealt with a lot of political turnover and strife and violence on the part of different political parties trying to take power. And they're both in the same geographic area, which means they have had very similar exports. You know, like sugar was their big export, and it was their main commodity, supposed to give them the most income, I guess, in the international trade. And they both had very similar regimes, especially around the similar times. So Haiti, for example, like I said, there was a history of strife and fighting, and then like in the 1950s, after a ton of instability, the Duvalier family came into power. They became dictators of the country. So they eliminated a lot of the uncertainty that came from different regimes trying to take control, and they kind of stabilized the violence in that manner. However, they were still a dictatorship and ruled with brutal violence. And Haiti, because of the type of dictator he was, not the type of regime, is one of the poorest in the country. In the nation, or in the world. He's one of the poorest in the world. So comparing that to Cuba, where there's also a huge history of strife and fighting, their history is also marked by one long-term dictator, Fidel Castro, who's been there came to power in 1956, so a little bit later than the Duvalier family. And Cuba, however, is not doing nearly as poorly as Haiti. In fact, I looked up the Human Development Index, and that was in 2007. Haiti is rated 158 out of 181. Its GDP is around like $1,100 something in US dollars, and that's adjusted for PPP. Whereas Cuba is rated 95 with a GDP per capita of $6,876 US dollars, adjusted for PPP. So, although they both had very similar regimes, Cuba has been a lot more prosperous than Haiti has. Therefore, I don't really see as much of a correlation with the type of regime correlating to prosperity of a nation as much as like other factors that went into it. So that's my story, and I hope you enjoy.